I dyed my hair blonde because he had a thing for blondes. I wore high heels almost every day because he found them sexy. I baked elaborate dinners for him. I even drove for 6 hours each weekend for months just to get to see him. And then, can you guess what happened? He found someone else. After I changed and changed for him, after I did everything for him, he found someone else. These were the words of one of my clients, a client who wanted a stable, long-term relationship more than anything. She wanted a loving partner who would be there for her. She wanted a family. But no matter how much she wanted it, no matter how hard she tried, she always ended up alone. So, what was happening? What went wrong in her relationships? She made many typical mistakes people with low self-esteem make. Mistakes I, as a therapist, see all the time. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about in this video. You'll learn the most common low self-esteem relationship pitfalls. Pitfalls that most people simply don't see coming. And I will share with you how to avoid them. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Katja, I'm a psychologist and psychotherapist from Slovenia, where I help clients skyrocket their self-esteem. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of my videos, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications. People with low self-esteem have a harder time creating healthy relationships. Like all people, they want to feel accepted and loved in the relationship, which is a need we all have. We all need a feeling of connection with somebody. But not all of us have that special connection with somebody. So, where do those with low self-esteem go wrong? Are they simply less lovable, like they sometimes, or in some cases often, believe? Absolutely not. You are lovable. You are worthy. Worthy of time, worthy of effort, worthy of attention, worthy of trust, and worthy of love. So, what's going on? What are the most common low self-esteem relationship pitfalls? One of them is not being choosy enough. Now, being picky usually means something bad. But being at least a little bit picky when it comes to relationship is a good thing. I've had many clients with low self-esteem who believed anybody is better than nobody. Or, well, at least I won't be alone. But that's not true. Sure, having somebody can be easier in regards to social pressures. For example, you don't have to be physically alone on Christmas Eve. And you automatically have a date for, let's say, your cousin's wedding. But aside from that, being with someone who is wrong for you can actually feel even worse than being alone. Being alone doesn't necessarily mean being lonely. Being with someone who you don't feel connected to, on the other hand, can make you feel terribly lonely. I've treated so many married couples who were together basically every day, and they felt lonely. Having a relationship doesn't guarantee you'll feel heard, accepted, and loved. So your goal shouldn't be to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Your goal shouldn't be to just have a relationship, but to have a good relationship, a healthy relationship. One where you're kind and respectful of each other, even when you're having a tough time. If you want to know more about what it means to have a good relationship, watch my other video called "This is not actually love." I'll put the link below this video. So, it's good to be a little choosy and to know the difference between the relationship from the outside from the relationship from the inside. What do I mean by that? Some of my clients got too hung up on the outside factors of the relationship. They were focusing on how the relationship looks instead of how it feels. They liked how their partner treated them in front of others, but didn't pay much attention to how they were being treated when they were alone. They liked what their partner said, but forgot to pay attention to what the partner actually did. Did he follow through? Was she only kind in words, but not in actions? Some of my clients wanted to get married and have a big wedding, but forgot to pay attention to the relationship itself. Wedding aside, they forgot to ask themselves, do I actually want to be with this person? So don't get too hung up on the outside factors of the relationship. Pay less attention to how the relationship looks. Pay attention to how it makes you feel. And be choosy about being with someone who makes you feel good about yourself. The second low self-esteem relationship pitfall is being too choosy. Confused? Yes, absolutely be choosy about the relationship itself. But don't be too choosy about the outside factors. I've had clients who had long lists about their future partner. For example, he must like cats, he must have a good job, he must play sports, he must be taller than me, he must be a smart dresser, he must read a lot, his favorite movie must be The Notebook, he must know how to cook, he must be health conscious, he must be amazing in bed, his parents must be nice, he wants to get married and have 2 kids, it must be love at first sight, and so on and so on and so on. Now, of course, it's okay to have certain wishes and to know what your deal breakers are. Just don't get too hung up on the outside factors of the relationship. These long lists of requirements are usually a form of defense mechanism. As long as nobody meets my criteria, I can't get hurt. And yes, this may in fact protect you from getting hurt in the relationship. But it also prevents you from having the relationship you truly want. What about you? Are you too choosy? Or are you sometimes not choosy enough? Write too choosy or not choosy in the comments. Another very common low self-esteem relationship pitfall is not being true to yourself. People with low self-esteem often really want to be liked. I remember a client who had the first date the following week saying, "Oh, I hope she'll like me." The goal of the date is not to be liked, but to enjoy and to see how well you go together. During the day, you shouldn't be asking yourself, does he or she like me? But instead, do I like him or her? How do I feel on this date? Am I enjoying myself? Am I relaxed? How do I feel talking to him or her? Dates aren't some audition where you need to convince the other person about how wonderful you are. You don't need to act or try to be likable. You need to be yourself as much as possible. Now, let's look at what happens if you try to be likable. I remember a client of mine who was always very pleasing, fun, and charming to her new boyfriend. She tried to show him that she wasn't like other women. She didn't get upset, she didn't nag, she didn't voice her wishes or needs. Instead, she was always fun. She was always understanding. And when she and her new boyfriend made no plans to see each other the following weekend, she still kept her time completely free in case he'll call her and want to get together. If she was supposed to meet a friend for coffee and he called and wanted to come over, she cancelled her friend and met with him. She was willing to always be on a standby. And even though he liked the fact that she was always available to him, she didn't feel good about herself. She felt powerless in the relationship. She felt like she shouldn't say anything about what's bothering her, because he might not like her anymore. This is not the way to build a healthy relationship that lasts. If you want a relationship where you feel good and you feel heard, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to voice your opinions. You need to voice your wishes. And you need to voice your needs. because the other person is not a mind reader. They can't know what you want unless you say it. They can't know who you are unless you show them. And let me tell you, being in a relationship with someone who has no idea who you actually are is one of the loneliest feelings in the world. One of the biggest low self-esteem relationship pitfalls is also not saying no. Do you ever have trouble saying no? Right? Same here in the comments below. Here's something that many people with low self-esteem don't understand. Even though you may really like the other person, or you may even love them, it's natural that from time to time you say no to them. You say no to a particular restaurant they want to go to. You say no when he or she asks you out when you already have plans. And of course, you may suggest another date. And you say no to things you're uncomfortable with. It's good and really important to set healthy boundaries in a relationship. And unfortunately, those with low self-esteem often fail to do that. At the beginning of the relationship, they always say yes to the little stuff, even though they sometimes want to say no. And this leads them to being unable to say no to the big stuff. This is exactly what happened to a client of mine. She said yes to everything her boyfriend of a week and a half wanted, and ended up sleeping with him way before she was ready. She even said yes to a fetish of his she was deeply uncomfortable with. So it's important to also say no when you disagree or when you don't want to do something, so that you don't start to accept things that are unacceptable to you. Another similar low self-esteem relationship pitfall is also losing yourself in the relationship. Has that ever happened to you? Were you ever in a relationship where at the end you didn't even recognize yourself? Many start losing weight because their partner made a remark about their body. Some start dressing differently to be more desirable in the eyes of their partner. Some start ditching their friends or even family, ditching their hobbies, their interests and activities. Some even change their jobs and way of life. And after a while, they don't even recognize themselves. They stop being their own person. They lose themselves in the relationship. And the last one of the most common and biggest low confidence relationship pitfall is not loving yourself. Why is this a relationship pitfall? Because you only accept the love you think you deserve. You cannot have a truly healthy and loving relationship if you treat yourself badly, if you think you're not worthy of it. The most important person in the relationship is you, not your partner, you. And the best possible gift you can give to your relationship is first having a good relationship with yourself. How? By building a healthy self-esteem. Did you like this video? Give it a thumbs up, it really helps me out a lot. Do you want to learn how to skyrocket your self-esteem? Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. And join my free Facebook group called Skyrocket Your Self-Esteem, where I share tons of useful tricks for boosting your confidence.